We don't get we studio guest. Jismet Suma, we are the chairman for the National Grand Coalition, the NGC. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Okay, it is a pleasure. Since after the election, I think this is not the first time we get you.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You know, the NGC before the election gets you know, an agreement, or MOU, or sort of way on get a coalition, an alliance with the ruling Leone People's Party. We have been campaigning with the party as well. We have not been contest for the presidency. Since after the election, how the alliance don't they go along?
Well, the alliance still the hold, but a little shaky, in the sense that you know, the expectations yet have not been met. But from the leadership of the party, the alliance is still on. From the grassroots, there's a lot of disappointment. But we still hope say the alliance is going on.
What's in at the shaky? It's if the alliance is shaky and you say
shaky in the sense that, for instance, clause 12, article 12 of the alliance agreement clearly states, say, if we win, the NGC party will be included in the government, and in so doing, will be assigned ministerial positions, deputy ministerial positions, as well as ambassadorial positions and heads of parastatals. With the exception of one person, we don't see much yet. So we're still hopeful at the leadership level. So the alliance is still on, is strong, but the grassroots, a lot of disappointment.
Dr. Kande Imkela is only one person we don't get appointment from the NGC.
Oh, well,
with an exception.
Dr. Kande Imkela, yes, now one, but we get one lady we then call Honorable Stevens.
The Deputy of Environment?
Yes, the Deputy Environment.
Ministry of Environment.
Yes.
So, you know, what's been the binding agreements of, you know, this alliance? Was it an outright assurance that, say, we SLPP win, una go get them position there, and if una not get the position there, like you say, you know, what's in the action? What's in una be agree say go be the action of the NGC?
Well, the binding aspect of the agreement is in black and white. It's written and signed in front of the world, not only Sierra Leone. The entire world pay attention to the signing of that agreement. I don't say some people then go to argue, say it is not binding. Well, if a written agreement is not binding, then nothing else is binding in Sierra Leone. If me and you go into car dealership agreement right now, you agree, say, if you give me $30,000, I give you one SUV. You don't give me $30,000. We don't write it in black and white. We'll not get no lawyer in between us. We'll not go register on no side. You want to tell me say that's not enforceable in court? If this is enforceable in court, then obviously we own agreement what we get is also enforceable. But it's to me, it goes beyond just writing it in black and white. It includes gentleman's agreement. It includes integrity, everything tied down to it, because it's not only Sierra Leone that watched what was prevailing at the time, the entire world paid attention to it. So I make we still hopeful. Say we're not free to say anybody in the right mind will look a publicly published agreement like that and just dish them out on the side. So we're still hopeful that the agreement is on.
Okay, so for better understanding, especially because Ali mentioned about the grassroots, you know, being disappointed and things like that. Excuse me. So you can kindly take with us to the reason why NGC decide for ally with the ruling party. Which thing it is quite that interesting, you know, because you guys could have actually, you know, contest for the presidential election, but not decide for align with the ruling party, the SLPP. What's not the reason?
The paramount reason, from my own personal point of view, now two major reasons, will make me sign up as chairman and leader of the party to the alignment, to the alliance. The first primary one is the security of the nation. Okay. It was very pivotal that if we make mistake in that election day, this nation will be in chaos, in the sense that the other side had no vision that they shared to the people, and they had no control of their grassroots, and that was dangerous. The fact that they're not being get control of the grassroots and still do not have control of the grassroots. They get people outside where they dictate to the grassroots. Now imagine if them win election that day, bam, therefore just shoot them, say, when I go burn houses, attack anybody, because policemen is afraid them. So when I think about the security and the safety, stability of the nation, so that they give me a vital reason for saying, no, we have one or two options. It's either we pull back and allow the chaos to happen, or we align ourselves to make sure there's stability in the country. The second reason, now part of the reason why people like I will join politics. I joined politics because I am tired of the mediocre leadership in the country since 1961 to now. And I know I have the means, the solutions. I don't say me not the best, but I know how to solve the problems that we face right now, given the opportunity. So my own vision for signing up was, I said, okay, we may not have the means to win outrightly, but this is an opportunity to prove to the nation that if given certain ministries to run, our party will demonstrate to the nation that we can solve problems. So that opportunity there, now then two reasons and there. One, stability of the nation, and two, the opportunity to serve the nation, not to seek job, contrary to some people in own whatever. I don't see anybody with their right mind where they go left heavy paying jobs in America, but can't look for scrap in a salon. Now because you lack the country, you want to make sure, say, you the ideas we get for solve problems, you're able for bring and come on the table for move the nation forward.
So you mentioned security and probably other things they want to be engaging in terms for ensure for say the election go smoothly and all. We want to know what is it, which part NGC be played during the elections? Because you mentioned about security, safety, and all these things of people of Sierra Leoneans.
Well, but the fact of the matter, during prior to the election and during the election, there was inter-party meetings and with the security agencies, all intent they play in for a peace, for kind of tamper down the situation and support the security agencies in terms of how to control the situation. So those are some of the parts that we played, and we'll make sure say we control. Of course, we don't support us. They're not rowdy. They're not radical. I'm not going to say radical per se, but they're not too violent. They don't get violent nature in them. So we're able to control our own men.
So what was the response? Because you only mentioned for the grassroots supporters of NGC were disappointed with the whole alliance thing and all these things. So you think, say, when you don't align with the ruling party and the grassroots people are against it, you feel say them will listen to now in any way for we not try to talk to them or not listen? Because in their minds, we leaders or people like what they hope for don't disappoint me. So why listen to them?
They're listening to us because they know, say, the core reason for the establishment of the NGC party is centered around certain principles, and those principles have not been violated. We are still hold on to our values as a party. And so it's just that expectations were high at the time, that after the election, by then 10 years now, therefore don't you see now some NGC ministerials and the ministers and now they run Minister of Health, Minister of Area, like people like we. My own interest is not to run ministries, but to have the opportunity to bring investors, because I know how impactful.
So you be the expect an appointment. You be the expect.
Everybody else will play a role. They expect certain role for play.
Okay. So is it that people like you disappointed that almost all the ministerial position or other appointment and president don't make you not get, or other people like you say that play the part of the election we're expecting they not get their position in the.
But as I said, the alliance is still hold. Some people are still hopeful and some people are disappointed.
You hopeful?
Me?
Yeah.
As chairman and leader, I have to be hopeful. Because if I lose hope, the rest of the membership of the party will how. So I have to hold on to the hope for majority of my membership.
Well, what do you think, say, go cause this doubt? Where, like they say, the grassroots people and get also members of NGC, which on a role, on a play, on a belief, on a play in the campaign and the SLPP win, and president announce cabinets, ministers them and other appointments them, on not so part of them generally, or most people from the NGC.
Well, first of all, the role we play is pivotal. Everybody knows without our role, there will have been no victory on one side, especially outright victory. There is no two way about it. We play the pivotal role, and we become the collateral damage for the success that came
but
for the president. That's I say collateral damage. Collateral damage means, you become the victim for success go happen. I can give you an example. Since 1961 to now, all elections, no voter not ever go to polling vote until you say vote for two political parties. Nobody has had that experience. And this is the first time we are telling them, no, vote for president and then vote for us later. They don't have that kind of experience, knowledge. So when you say vote for the president, you push that agenda, you put that logo, which was, you know, a very critical area, immediately then go bam, write down the ticket. Because that's what we told them. You know, that's what they we didn't have enough time for educate them, for know the differences, not only time, the resources, for educate them, for know the differences about voting for two political parties. So since we've been a push alliance and push the presidency, that's what stuck into their heads when they went to the ballot.
Yeah,
box.
I've been asked about what you think, say, or NGC thinks, say, don't cause this issue about una expectation not being met, you know, with the agreement.
Well, there could be several factors. One, we see the security situation of the country immediately after June 24, and other issues the way they crop up, where the president get for travel, and then issues that they're very crucial at the moment for let the president go focus on address the situation. And
no, but the president don't make appointment, and that is what I'm asking. Why una think, say, this was a promise, it was an agreement, like you say, black and white,
yeah.
It was shown to the world, Dr.
Well, that's a question for the president to answer.
So I'm asking, you're a leader of the NGC.
Yeah, I don't know why.
You think there is any...
The simple answer, I don't know why. All I know, there is still expectation, there is still hope.
So
I don't know why the delay.
So does this mean that even if expectations are not met and all that thing, and they will not go able to continue for help and support the ruling party? Because I believe during the whole alliance thing, the aim was to try for try for help with national issues, them and all these things. But then if expectations are not met, will there be any way for making be encouraged for even support the ruling party?
Well, you see, from the onset, we own modus operandi in the way where we practice politics. Now, constructive criticism. We don't just go attack for the heck of attack's sake. We look at issues and make sure, say, now things that were relevant for the nation in advancement, we support them. Things that were not relevant for the nation in situation, we criticize them. And, you know, we'll go continue with that process there, obviously. Because we're a political party as an entity of our own. You know, we're not necessarily in the driving seat dictating the terms of how the nation is moved,
even if expectations
the policies and everything.
So now we'll still continue for support. Is that what you're saying?
No, we're still continuing our method of constructive opposition.
Okay.
So irrespective of whether they give appointment or not, you understand? If they not give you appointment, if they give you appointment, maybe since we have a seat on the table, then that will be a platform for let we for push certain changes in the agenda. You understand? If we not get a seat on the table, then we'll continue our opposition as an opposition party.
Okay, so Dr. Yumkela, one of the exceptions, as you rightly mentioned, and you know, in determining the way they do your campaign for presidency and all these things was to try to see how you go try for pushing economic issue and all these things. Probably you will get an idea of probably the things that we don't put in place, because still the country still experience economic crisis, and people try for see which will be the way forward. And when we don't come in as an expert, I would say, presume experts was not going for try for see and not going for help the country move forward. But yet we're still facing the issue. And election done by it's been months now. So with now the things then probably we want to go don't put in place for try for say and go pushing the current situation where they're going to the country.
As I say, we are not in the driving seat. The area where Dr. Kane Koloyum Kelari handle requires a lot of planning, at least 6 months planning.
But definitely, we're going to, you know, get discussion with him.
Yeah, quickly, I just want to clarify. Do you consider the NGC part of this government, or not a part of her?
That's a tough question to ask, to answer. As I said, the alliance is still on. So as alliance is still on.
So you are part of the government?
We will moderately say so.
Okay.
Until such time, we will really definitely realize that we're not.
Because Dr. Kande Mkela is there, he's representing the NGC,
yeah.
And the other woman, where you say they as deputy, moderately, that the moderates we will not involve in the governance.
Yes.
Architecture. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Sonia been there asked about, you know,
plans,
helping the government.
As I said, Dr. Kane Koloyum Mukela, they handle 3 pivotal areas. One way they deal with food security, and with food inflation, this country is very high. It's over 30–40%, which is very unsustainable. And then you get the area of energy. We see how the cost of energy don't begin to increase. And then you get environmental issues. Now, with respect to energy and food security, if the government able to address them 2 major areas, then it will cut down on the inflation, the general inflation level very drastically. And I'm sure Dr. Kande Koloyumkela is the right person for handle on one day, and he can do some serious planning, because it's not a 5-year process. It's one that requires at least 6 months minimum planning before the execution. And the planning process seems to be going so good.
At what level you as chairman of the NGC will consider for getting involved in the governance in the presidency of President Bio?
Well, as the agreement says, when we win, there is no time frame. So our expectation was that when we win, and since it's after we win, they're going to be making ministerial position, and the agreement says the ministerial position will be given, deputy ministerial will be given, ambassador that will be given, heads of parastate that will be given. So we've been expected during the time then decisions were being made, we're going to be included.
So are you disappointed that the decision majority, most of
I've answered that question earlier.
No, yes, but I'm asking again.
As I said, there is disappointment across the board.
I'm asking you personally as chairman.
Some of us are hopeful.
Okay.
As I said, I am the chairman and leader. I have to be hopeful.
So since after this happened, I'm sure, signing such an alliance, and I must don't meet with the president, don't get a discussion with him. Before the election, we see President Dr. Kande Mkela meet with him, get discussion with him. Since after then, when I don't able to meet with the president and discuss or ask questions about some of these things we've been doing at the agreement?
As a party?
Yes.
No.
And what could be the reason for that?
Well, Dr. Kande Mkela, they represent we.
So una satisfied with him representing you, even where una get grassroots people are concerned, and like you mentioned, the agreements una signed, the things that they not meet up to the meet?
Well, as I said, we are still hopeful. There is a turning point. When that point
is there something you don't want to say publicly? That is happening within.
Well, the thing is still on.
But we are expecting, like you mentioned, these are something we did in black and white, and it clearly say, una go get ministerial position, una go get, parastatals, ambassadorial and all, and we don't get almost all the ministries, them don't get ministers and deputies, and that not happen.
Yeah, we know. Like I say, we're still hopeful, waiting.
So what happens if you not succeed at all? Although, yes, there are 2 exceptions, but what happens if the rest doesn't succeed?
Well, we still continue for run with party as the way we run them. Maybe float an option for take legal action, but I don't have the mandate to do that until NEC, the National Executive Committee, give me that mandate. If I'm given that mandate, I will do it.
Illegal action against the government?
Of course. Parties to that agreement.
Okay, that includes the president.
Of course. Of course.
I'll read something you write very recently. You say, at independence, we had 12 members of cabinet, and they were able to run the affairs of government effectively without overburdening the national budget. Now, please tell me how many members of the current cabinet we have, and just imagine the drain on our national budgets to finance the bloated executive branch with little to nothing left to invest and care for the poor voters. If you want to know where a huge chunk of our national budget is going, look nowhere but the cost of running our embassies and the cost of running our ministries, including the ministers, their deputies, and in some case, their second deputies. The government has become the employment agency for party loyalists at the expense of competency. GF Suma.
Yep. Still stand by those words.
Yeah, you're part of this government, and you still think, say, this. What's are your general assessments of the presidency appointments, the cabinet, and the economic situation?
Well, you see, prior to even this government, for them the way they follow me, I'm a man who always advocate for a frugal government, meaning a government where they act like Kumra. Kumra always they manage in finances, they waste time. You understand? So irrespective of whether this government, in power or previous government, all the time for me, na politics. My own focus, na for that we run government, not waste money, so we'll get enough money for take care of the people. And that's the same expression.
So President Bio, they waste money now with your appointment them? Is that what you're saying?
No, the point is that's the same system that has existed for the past 20, 30, 40 years.
I'm asking,
so in the whole
now?
camp, in the continue that same pattern day. If you ask me, I will ask for a reduction in the number of personnel in our embassies. That will save us thousands and thousands of dollars. We don't have any need to have 2 ministries in a Ministry of Education, match those ones. We don't have no need for get a youth ministry and youth agency and youth commission. We have to merge all of those. We have no need for get 2 deputy ministers. That's my own point of view, and I still stand by those views. If we want to run this country effectively, we need for save resources so we can invest in the people. If we continue for bloat the size of the government, we're not going to save enough resources. Those positions, I've had it 15, 20 years ago, and I still stand by those. If I have opportunity for going to any government, now part of the issues are now they push.
Are you saying these are out of, are you disappointed? You know, I remember I interviewed you the last time, you know, before the elections, and you were hopeful. What are you saying that Unadika help President Bill, if he win, we don't win now, for run the country in a better way? With their hope than they and you campaign for them, are you disappointed with, like you mentioned, what's been done, they happen and still they happen?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, our hopes were very high. And then I mean, formed the motivation. 1, because of security, and 2, because of still the kind of opportunity for be part of a government where President Bill will get a legacy, where nobody not going to doubt that legacy there, in terms of delivering for the people of this nation, reducing the cost of living, and transforming the lives of our people. So we, as a party, have key people within our party who get the knowledge and the know-how for work with the president and deliver on their expectations and they. Our focus is to relieve the burden on our people. Your focus now for relieve the burden of the people and also create a legacy where in any meeting say we look for and clap for them. That was the hope, and that's still the hope, and we're hoping that we might get there, but now we're not there yet.
So during the alignment and before the whole election thing, you know, was there any engagement with the ruling president as to probably, you know, when we don't align with them, for say, okay, if I win election, these are the things that I'm going to do or put in place and all these things? Because you don't mention things that you're disappointed in, especially with the fact that you have 2 deputy ministers and so many other ministers that were not necessary, as you say, and all these things. So was there any discussion, a table discussion for say, okay, this could be the structure if I win, especially when we don't align with the president?
Well, first of all, there were discussions prior to putting everything in black and white. So those discussions existed. In terms of the composition and size of government, we didn't go into that. Those are structural changes.
So that make it a surprise to you?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise to me, because that's been the pattern. I'm saying that that's the position I've held over 10, 15 years ago, and I still hold the position. But
during the engagement and all this, because the alliance was to see how to push the nation forward. I believe, for say, before I even get discussion, I discuss about things that would hinder the progress of the country. Was there by any chance those things that we don't highlight will come up during the discussion?
Well, some of them things, and they come up during policy discussions, you know, in terms of we sharing within our own point of view in terms of policy positions and stuff like that. But discussing it, implementing it are 2 different things. And we don't have,
so yet
we are not at the driving seats to...
Was it reconsidered? Okay.
Yes.
Would you have had different perspective or opinion on some of these issues, like the one about cabinet? So now if you were appointed, if you were one of those appointed to serve, are you saying these things because you're disappointed?
No. But as I said, these are positions I've held over 10, 15 years ago. So it's not something new.
But if you were on the
you follow my social media.
If you were on the driving seats, like you mentioned, if you've been the part,
I would be on the table just like on the table with you. I'll push the same views. I would say, oh, Mr. President, I know, you know, things are the way it is, but when you consider the finances of the nation, I think we need to find a way to kind of create a smart and slim government so that there's tons of people. I'll come up with a document to justify my position by outlining certain areas where savings could be made. You understand? For instance, now we embassies them. You get certain personnel and we embassies them. Some are paid $4,000, $6,000 a month. You know, it's $6,000 a month.
Some of them sentiments here, Natin, I'm
sure.
on
the express all the years.
I'm sure you know, say Dr. Kande Mkela believe in them. These are things I've interviewed him. They don't talk about bloated cabinets, wasting resources and all of that with some appointment them. Are you expecting him to put forward these positions as well? Fact that in the government and they represent.
Absolutely, that's the great expectation that we get from him, because as you rightly say, instead they share the same views they are prior to being part of the government, and he himself made it clear to us that the president said, "Look, me man, you don't talk too much. Can't join me. They will fix the thing the way they talk. So they expect, say, when he did it, you go bring them views and all the president understand.
So is it that the NGC ideology or thinking of how to run the states and how to save resources as part of the alliance, the ruling party or the president's not to come on board?
No. Well, but the government just formed, man.
Hey, but government is running. There's cabinet.
I know.
You have people who are disappointed now because they don't announce cabinet to the people, and already people like you are not part of the. You are not in the driving seat as you mentioned. Now.
Yes.
So there is government already. After election, there is government with the one.
So all the things they would be against.
Or you want to stay after 1 year before you assess, or after 5 years?
No. After 5 years, that's the end of the government.
So what's in your assessment now? What's in your assessment of what is happening?
We believe, say, down the road, some of the views that we would on the profess all these years, as long as Dr. Kanekolo Yumkela did it, he will be able to push them views today. Hopefully, if they bring more of with it, then some of more voices will be added on the table for us to be able to see how best to provide an admirable legacy for the president and also deliver and transform the lives of our people who are struggling now.
So how often, Dr. Yumkela and probably with the other lady, they engage with now? Because regardless, they're like the half of them too, they represent
the ambassador.
Yes, now then they represent now right now, and I'm sure in order for make them go know with now the situation or things they want to see from my own view, for make them go for set them across now based on engagement. How often do they engage? They can engage with you now.
Well, me they engage with Dr. Kande Kolomiko quite often on a regular basis, even
on a personal basis or for the party.
Party related
basis,
yes.
Okay.
You know, earlier you talk about, you know, grassroots and Ogladi. Who do you think say it's all within the happen them for blame? Who should take responsibility?
Us, the leadership of our party.
Yeah, okay.
Us,
you and Dr. Yumkela and others.
It's a way for blame.
So if you're talking to them now, your NGC members, what you could tell them, say I should take responsibility?
Of course.
What you could tell them, say?
No, I go tell them, say, let them hold
You don't
faith.
feel them, or I don't feel them?
Well, we'll not reach that level yet, but for now, I can understand why they go disappointed. Because one thing about leadership is having that sense of empathy, able to relate to the concerns of your followers. And I definitely relate to their concerns. But me, they tell them, say, let them still have hopes. You know, all is not, you know, lost, for lack of a better word. So I go express that kind of a hope to them. And, you know, I apologize to them for not meeting their expectations as yet, but there's still hope.
You got any regrets joining this alliance?
Oh, no. No. In fact, I'm glad you asked that question. The area that I have regrets is the fact that our expectations were high. If those expectations were defined in advance, clearly, in other words, like the way I speak, I don't speak like a politician, I speak straight. I define my expectations when I deal with people well in advance so you don't assume other stuff. But if those expectations were defined, say, look, me man, well, I can't join you, but when I see how the country in situation there, law help, law win. Anything can happen. We're not going to agreement to nothing. That will have tampered our expectation. But considering the security situation that existed then, knowing what I know now, if I have the opportunity to campaign and vote for President Bio, I will have still done it. Because the risk of unleashing this nation into chaos was too high for the winning or losing an election. So the security, you see, that area, I'm seriously, personally, I was very concerned. The fact that the other side has no control of their grassroots. How, just sit back and imagine what could have happened to this country, especially Freetown. When they now say, bam, XYZ don't win. They're so bloody that even a Godrich, one of million candidates them, around 8, 9 o'clock, which as a notion I them will attack them. Attack them. Police not get mind to map this. Locking a one in every they get my leg shack. And challenge them. Just imagine multiple of that happening around the nation. So it would have been chaos.
Quickly, as we try for let you go, and there is this issue about the international community and the outcome of the election. The U.S. government announced visa ban on people who they say involved, you know, in the election and all of that. What's in the NGC position to this? The cloud around, you know, the outcome of the election, accountability and transparency as well.
Well, me, Nama, have been personally involved in the entire electoral process. And I know that President Bio did not leave any stone unturned to go for every vote he can go for in every part of this country. I was very impressed on that, because I don't watch politics over the years. The extensive way he campaign, especially in the North, no other politician ever campaigned that way. You understand? And when you consider the fact that, say, NGC, we don't leave the Southeast for the alliance. We're not filing candidates. We are controlling at least before the election, controlling between 10 to 15% of the votes in the Southeast. But we're not filing no candidate. We campaign aggressively for the alliance presidency go win. So I strongly believe within 40 to 45% of the votes were already secured there. The opposition had no penetration in the Southeast. They all know that. So all we were fighting for is 10% to win the election. And you telling me that we cannot get 10% from the North and Western area combined? That vote was won legitimately. There's no two-way about, no ifs and off about it. Because I was part and parcel of it, I was deeply involved in it. The process, we may have questions. The process, we may have issues.
NGC, you mean?
No, not NGC. I mean, people may have issues with the process, the way ECSL handle stuff. But in terms of securing a legitimate vote, statistically, he was legitimate.
Okay. But I not get any position on the position of the international community, specifically the U.S. government, on what is happening in Sierra Leone presently?
Well, I think from me understanding, I not feel to say the U.S. government or anybody in the international community, they accuse the election to have been rigged. I don't think that's what they're saying. They're not saying that the election was illegitimate. They're saying that ECSL failed to show the tally, which creates a sense of doubt. You understand? So that's an issue with ECSL. ECSL is an entity which is supposed to be independent. In fact, if you ask me, that name is not even convenient. It should be an independent electoral commission. That independent was supposed for the day, so you go instill at the head of the commissioners. They ought to be independent. So constitutionally, legislatively, ECSL is supposed to be an independent body from the government, so President Bio has nothing to do with what they do. All they do is, if they do it right and they do it effectively, as I see that have been done, they announce the result. If there are shortcomings in the processes, that happens in every election, but there are certain things that I know strongly need to be changed in the way we conduct elections in this country. But with time, we'll get there. But for now...
What next for the NGC?
We are continuing to exist as a political party. We're expecting to have a NEC meeting, wherein I've written out an entire 5-year plan in terms of how to rebrand and move the party forward. And once I get that mandate, you guys will be seeing me quite often.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Gismed, for joining me this morning. You know, the chairman of the NGC. But quickly, I was going to get timeline for the government meets to the commitments in the alliance agreement. When I get timeline.
No, not get timeline. We just to continue.
If it happens in 40 years, if I can accept.
40 years for not rule this country 5 times. We NGC for not rule this country 5 times.
So anytime it happen on a go, anytime they announce it, please is the president to announce you as somebody you go accept them.
That not left down the way they tell you to go talk about that.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Gismed Suma, for joining me this morning. Unfortunately, we not get enough time for you to take some of the comment them now Facebook page, but definitely we'll get you some other time, and hopefully we'll come earlier. Then we'll continue the conversation.